You need to stand tall against your enemies and embrace the strengths of your friends. You will be tested.
He can jump in if he wants to, thinking about it. Fisher to open up GH, the Echo Slam. Is it quite going to be enough? They have the Ravage to try and turn it. Weehaw so freaking low as they all are getting torn apart. Nisha.
You will be battered and bent, but never broken. You will follow in the footsteps of legends and trust that someday others will follow in yours.
Soul Catcher on him, press T9 though, help him out, Earth Splitter. Oh, but they got him. They caught him, man, he's dead for 2 minutes. The volley's coming in, but it's not good enough. OG are going to the grand finals for the...
You will understand the magnitude of each moment without losing sight of the prize ahead. Because you know this is your time. This is your fight. It's all on the line.
Things were a bit dark. My dog had died, and yeah, it was really rough for a couple of weeks. My self-esteem was pretty low, and now we're here.
OG. The defending champions of the International 2018, now again on the ground stage of the International 2019 OG, taking the stage, ready to face up against what some would say is their nemesis, Team Liquid, and they look ready. Smiles are had, cheers are had by the crowd.
But in this moment, they're going to be the bitter rivals. And
the 7 there already just...
talking about hero picks and stuff, but who knew that he was actually talking about OG being able to make a run through a lower bracket?
Finals. They want Kuroki in the fountain as well. They're going to get him. They're chasing Miracle as well. Oh my god.
I can't believe this. I can't believe what we're seeing in this game 4. OG, you thought you saw it all again too. You thought you saw it all again. There it is, gold. OG are your 2-time TA champions. They've done it, folks.
And in what a fashion. These last 3 games didn't even seem close. Liquid, they had something going for themselves, but then they hit the brick wall. OG's the best team in the world. They are on a completely different level.
No question. They are so far ahead of anybody else that plays this game for a living. Game 2, 3, and 4 were absolutely ridiculous. The showing was magical from OG.
They just seem to know exactly what to do with whatever draft they're giving. It doesn't matter. They have so many different drafts, so many different play styles. They can execute all of them. Liquid seemed like they stood no chance after that first game.
And they've earned their money. $15 million, just over it, in fact, going the way of OG for this victory, on top of the $11 million they won last year.
Unbelievable performance by them, and in such a style. Busting out the carry IO in the final game, having a Timbersaw that they haven't played too much at all either. These guys can play anything.
They absolutely can. Innovators, magicians, bringing something new to the game, and when it counts the most in the grand finals. Game 1 was shaky, we had a bit of fun. Game 2, 3, and 4, they played their hearts out for every single minute of the matches. OG, the best team of all time, and with this, their second TI win. And not just the second TI win, but the second back-to-back. They do it 2 years in a row. There is no question that we're witnessing the best team of all time. I believe preparing to lift up what is rightfully theirs for the second time in Aero. There he is, Sam himself, leading the crew up to the podium. You cannot help but be awestruck by what this team has shown us in this entire run, in these 2 years, and now the grand finals. Ladies and gentlemen, it's OG!
恭喜OG再次获得 Ti 的冠军，夺得2019年国际邀请赛的冠军。来，让我们问一下 DOTA 好吧？哇，他们非常的开心，和家人在庆祝自己这一刻的兴奋。OK， No tell。OK， so 那我相信在这一刻。 他们作为卫冕冠军，并且再次夺得 Ti 冠军，一定有很多话想说。那我们先来问一下，队长 DOTA 现在有什么话想对他们的粉丝和对 DOTA 2的粉丝们讲的吧？来，有请我们的翻译 Josh。
You know, they're not busting open the door. They're not running to see everyone else because it's what's in there, you know, that counts. They got them there again.
It's unbelievable what this team managed to do in the end. 2 times winning Ti, and the Dota for them, Dota for pretty much all of us is life. Dota is love, and we should just keep playing the game. I can't believe what we just witnessed.
I mean, just look at the way that they won, and they come out And poor Dove, she's like trying to get the interview going. And the team cares nothing about that. They just care about sharing this happiness with each other, sharing this happiness with their family that has supported them through this very tough road that they recently had to go through to win the TI. I'm sure it feels a little bit easier the second time around, but God, this is just what an insane way to be able to just go through, just running people nonstop.
I mean, it must just
good
be
dotes.
like just a wave, right? Of like each thing hitting you, it's like, oh my God, we did it. We won TI again. And then it's like, oh my God, we just won all this money again. Oh my God, I'm gonna be carrying Iowa on the Aegis. So many things are flying through there right now.
It's like waking up from this moment over and over again. Well, you can't believe that you actually did it, and there you are once again.
Sad.
There's multiple generations support there. And so Garrett is there with his dad, but he also brought his mom, his sister, and his grandma. 3 generations of Garrett's on the stage. It's amazing that they get to witness it from very far. Something that's known to a lot of people is that when the possible final game happens, for both sides, all the friends and family is like they're giving a spot like on the floor, on the stage floor, so that they can witness it super close by, but also so that they can either be there to share the happy moment or be there to share the sad moment. And of course, in OG's case, they were cheering and rowdy. But as OG was once again very dominant in the IO performance.
DOTA2 pushing Seth forward. He tells him to claim the Aegis. Like, this is every player's dream. Do you remember when Kuro won the Aegis? He wouldn't let go of that. And he wants to do it. He desperately held onto that Aegis no matter what. And the fact that No Tail pushes Seth forward, just like he said in his interview, he said, I'm dedicating this tournament to Seth. That friendship meant everything in the world to him, and that's why he gives Seth the opportunity to be the first one to place the Aegis first.
5 days ago, they put that Aegis on the throne, and now they're taking it back again, and they deserve it. They are best team in the world, and probably they are the best team that we ever witnessed in Dota, for sure.
It's such a fun playstyle to be able to go. What a good team for DOTA2, and how fitting that IO carry is the one that is going to be on all the Aegises. That's going to be there because it all starts with the story of being able to trust your teammates, right? They want to be able to do something and being able to just fearlessly say, go for it.
It embodies their style. From the tethering to one another to the, we never practiced this, let's go to the group stage and destroy it.
And it's working out, you know. And we've all seen two sides. You know, we all know in what fashion they won the first one-time round. Like, what do you like to play? You know, not what is the style.
For those who are watching this stream, this is not
what is the strategy. No, what would you like to play in the final
for
game?
Ti9. It's just a highlight from last year's international night.
A big fan of Wings.
I'm still waiting for the live.
And watches those games. And I think it's kind of evident in their playstyle. I get there's no other team that made me have those emotions.
Thank you,
Day one, just like
we're watching now. Please subscribe to my channel. If you play Mobile Legends, just leave your mobile ID in the comment section below for an epic skin giveaway.
And we saw Anna with that Aegis, his third international. It's all been OG all the way for him. Third international, second Aegis. So impressive. I mean, first time so two internationals today. I don't think that there is ever going to be anyone to repeat that. 2 internationals, back-to-back 2 champions.
I thought
They can do it next year.
Thanks to Kenny, Dimitra for this video.
He said, we aren't doing anything special. Nobody can be perfect. All
So
we're doing is
let's
taking it
watch
tournament by
different
tournament,
highlights
game by
of
game.
waiting for the
If you look
result.
too far ahead, you lose yourself.
We've all heard the tale of the young star, the phenom, someone so unquestionably gifted that they were destined for greatness from birth. But what about the journeymen, the grinders, the people who live and breathe on airplanes, switch teams yearly, are overlooked, tossed aside, written off? They're has-beens, constantly on the brink of watching everything they've ever worked for slip through their fingers. But somehow they persevere. They never let go, no matter the cost, because they have a dream.
You have a coach that became a player, probably best coach all time, 5-time major winner with OG, and he comes back and does this as a player.
This is the story of one of those grinders, of a guy who saw his career come and go, only to reanimate it and become immortal. This is the story of...
Thompson, the opportunity is only Anna! Can he do it here? He's at half LC! Take it to goal! He gets the goal of his lifetime!
Sebastien Seb Debs started his professional Dota 2 career way back in 2011, just as the first ever international had vaulted the game into the limelight. But back then, he wasn't known as Seb, he was fucking mad.
And here with me, fucking Matt from Team Alliance.
And I'm here with fucking Matt.
Actually sitting here with fucking Matt.
He originally signed on with a roster called Team Shakira that year. They finished 4th place at DreamHack Winter, which led the Western Wolves to pick up the roster. But roster shuffles were common in that era of Dota, and Seb was no stranger to them. Even early on in his career, Seb was known as an analytical player. He had a commanding voice and wasn't afraid to use it to get his opinions across. He was confident, the kind of guy who would tell you how he felt no matter what.
Yeah, it was the beginning of esports, man. It wasn't easy. Like, it wasn't what it is today, unfortunately. If you'd lose, you'd have no money to pay for your rent. You'd have like I remember playing DreamHacks and we had no money to pay for the hotel. We were sleeping on the floor the very night. So you think twice about losing again. You know, like it was a do or die. It was truly the win or die kind of thing.
He joined a team called Mortal Teamwork in 2012, ahead of Ti9, and qualified for the main event alongside his new squad.
They need something. Fonzie is being ripped. The throne is on 250 live. Finally, the kill is done. MTW taken. They will travel to Seattle for the International.
Headed into Ti9, many actually looked to MTW as contenders for the Aegis of Champions. But despite all the hype headed into the event, they tripped out of the gate, finishing with a record of 3-11.
That burst damage from MTW, hanging till up, and here comes the Ravage! Morphling with a double, Morphling with a triple, and it steals the GG. MTW are the first team to be eliminated from the International 2012.
There was pressure, and the way we were treating each other as teammates, I think, was pretty immature back then. You know, I try to give every year, like every guy, like a reason or like a team for why we failed. That one was team dynamics.
And that spelled the end of yet another stint on a team for Seb. This was kind of the story of his early career. He'd flip-flop between teams, never living up to his potential on the biggest stage. By the end of that era, he really was a bit of a nobody in the professional Dota world. Between 2011 and 2015, he played on 13 different professional teams. And after that disastrous performance at Ti9, he was very much thrust out of the game's upper echelon. The community began to know him as just an arrogant kid with some talent that never really measured up to the rest of the game's best.
I was like, it's been a while now. It's already been like 5 years or something of competing, and I felt like my ideas, they were good enough to win these TIs even. And yet I'm sitting there, not even making it to the main event ever. If I can't, like, not even making it to the tournament. So I'm like, you want to be confident, you want to believe, you want to chase your dream, but you don't want to be delusional.
He wasn't a phenom, he wasn't the game's next star, and things were only going to get worse. In 2015, Seb's career revved its engines a little when he signed with a former TI winner in Alliance. But the team had a mediocre showing in the lead up to Ti5 and failed to qualify for the biggest event of the year.
You know, it's almost heartbreaking. Why couldn't they have played as well in Game 1 as they did in Game 1 throughout the rest of the qualifiers? FGG, well played. And with that, Alliance slips down. into last place along with Burden United. And they see their hopes for the International 2015 come crashing to an end.
And despite some improved results from Alliance later in the year, Seb couldn't keep up. And after ESL won Frankfurt, he was without a home once more.
It was hard to get that team anywhere until at a certain point it felt like we were just banging ourselves against, like, our heads against the wall.
Only this time, he wasn't about to find a new one anytime soon. Despite the struggles he'd faced in his pro career, Seb was a student of the game. He was one of those guys that was just obsessed with Dota, whether he was winning or losing. He fixated on draft strats, pocket picks, micro and macro strategy, and in general, he always thought he knew best. So, when things went south with Alliance, he dipped his toes into analysis and casting, where he became a bigger community figure than he ever was as a player.
But have you ever thought about settling down as a cast or analyst? I think in the near future there's actually room for that.
I actually enjoy it a lot. I think it's lots of fun, and I'm really interested in the strategies, so it fits, that's for sure. But above everything else, I'm a competitor. I want to play that game to the highest level, try to win games. So no, I never crossed my mind for any second. I can do that while I'm on a break. If I have time, I'd be glad to do it. I enjoy it a lot, but it's playing before everything.
Dota fans actually began to celebrate the high level of analysis he could bring to the desk. He boasted expertise that's hard to come by in such a deep and complicated game.
Too sad. Thoughts?
I think Empire has to play the same way they did in Game 1.
You do?
The fact that they were aggressive brought them ahead. They actually caught LHD off guard many times, and they crushed them in many openings. But it's also what lost them the game, so they need to find the right balance. It's gonna be tough, but they can do it.
It was during this era that his reputation as a prominent Dota 2 mind grew immensely. But his highly opinionated personality also got him into trouble. He famously faced rabid community backlash after calling Arteezy overrated. But even though his pro career was largely a failure, that was just the way Seb was. The kind of guy who said what he thought and meant it, no matter who he might offend.
Yeah, indeed. Seb, what are your final thoughts on that game for EG?
I mean, I kind of expected EG to dominate complexity, and no offense to complexity, but I think EG is the strongest team.
There's probably a lot to do with my temper, with how I am. I mean, I'm a very I'm a person, I like challenges.
At that point in 2016, Seb was adrift. He was a smart guy, but his professional career had never really measured up to his game sense and the volume of his voice. But at the end of that year, Seb got a fresh start. OG brought him in as an analyst during their run at the Shanghai Major, and then immediately hired him as a head coach after the event.
I felt very unsatisfied with my career path. I felt like I could do much more. I could have done much more in Dota in general. I never really met my expectations of what I was capable of, but I never really gave up on my dreams of really testing what I was capable of.
Even back then, OG were known as the type of team to do things their own way. So despite Seb's waning prominence, the Union made a weird kind of sense. He was a big brain who wasn't afraid to break the mold, and that was exactly what OG wanted.
The way he spoke about the game, you could tell it wasn't just passion, it was brains, and this is kind of what we saw.
And to say that it was a match made in heaven would be an understatement.
It was very clear that this was the best opportunity I've gotten to that day to prove myself, once and for all. There was not going to be any doubts, so that was the perfect scenario, so I just went for it.
The team was built around Fly and No-Tail, two of the scene's closest and most beloved players. They rounded it out with Prodigal Miracle, Moon Meander, and Crit. And with Seb at the helm, the W's continued to roll in.
Mosey's on in. Moon looks to jump. This could be the combo. Let it go with the Sunray 2. Miracle just waiting for the Omnislash now. It comes through and jumping forward. They get the stun on the Dragon Knight. They bring him down as well almost. Yes, sirree. They sure do. The Bear about to drop will pop the BKB, but they beat down Fauna. They go Scepter to point defensively. The Bear will fall. The hero's next. OG are doing it. Liquid. They can withstand the punishment. OG are the Manila Major Champions. Second time, the first ever team to repeat.
Not only did they take home the trophy in Manila, but the team credited a lot of their success to their new coach.
A huge shout out to our coach Seb. This would have never happened without him. Sebastian, thank you so much for this.
It was a dream come true. Everything just, the stars, they aligned. all these experiences that I've had in the past, they made sense. They started being useful.
And OG rode their victory in Manila to yet another win at ESL One Frankfurt.
Yes, Maker defensive your scepter, but it's the mid-ranks. They're forcing to make it, then they get the GG. OG, they've just gone from strength to strength, and they will take this grand final 3-0 against Na'Vi in spectacular fashion.
Headed into Ti9, they were among the favorites to hoist the Aegis. But like everything in Seb's career, it wasn't going to be that simple. The team was absolutely massacred at TI, losing to heavy underdogs TNC in the lower bracket.
Your whole life is about that tournament. When it ends, I don't think you quite accept it. Brain just doesn't process the fact that it's over.
But OG were an enigma. They bounced back from their failure at TI with another major title in Boston and picked up 2017's first major in Kiev. They were the winningest team in major history. They had unrivaled chemistry and some of the most talented players in the world. With each major title, each triumph, Seb's reputation as a coach grew.
When the highest level of Dota is played, when every little detail is thought through, it's something that is beautiful in the sense that I've never found this in anything else in my life.
Kiev Major, we found our strengths, and Sebastian really brought us together as a team. He's like one of the players, and he deserves the moment to celebrate with us.
But when it came time for the International, the game's biggest stage, they just couldn't measure up.
Look for more. Points don't do it for you. No tails next. They keep on going. No buybacks on 3. The end is 9. GG. LGD slay the beast.
S4 and left OG after TI7.
It was a huge shock. Like we for sure didn't see it coming.
Not much was said. I think max 3 sentences were spoken in that room. Then they left. We spent 8 years together, and now it's over.
OG were in shambles. In the end, OG's majors weren't enough. Dota simply isn't about majors. If you can't perform at TI, it's time to go back to the drawing board. And that's what they had to do in the lead up to the International 8.
So forming a team 3 months before TI and having a shot at winning TI? No, not happening.
OG had lost their captain. They looked like a shell of their former selves, and the Dota world, more or less, wrote them off. Just months before TI, they still had 2 holes in their roster, and there were no top players that they could sign on a moment's notice. So they found a ringer.
So as soon as we got a spot, I definitely thought of a guy, but the majority was like, who the hell is Topson?
Seb brought in Topson, a Finnish pub star with almost no competitive experience, to play mid. Anna came back, this time to play position 1, and No Tail had taken over the brunt of the leadership role in Fly's absence. OG were being patched together, but one piece was still missing.
The real question is, why not Sebastian as a player instead of a coach?
What I wanted is the team to win. I wanted us to play at the highest level of Dota, whether it's me playing or me coaching, whatever it is. This is the number one part. This is what makes me happy.
They were beaten, they were broken, but they were going to give it a shot. After all, when the TI lights turn on, anything can happen. With the odds stacked against them, OG rose to the challenge. They didn't start the event off too strong, but they proved during the groups that they could still hang.
We just got to work and try to fix everything we could think of that had to be fixed, and it ended up working.
Anna has the hand of God, living for the moment, the 2-person shackle. This could be a decent turnaround, but the illusions taking down Abed with the Desolate damage. Oh, it's dirty. And the tip to boot.
OG Dota. I love it.
At the same time, another tornado comes out, and that's enough to finish Mound. He's dead for
Seb
2 minutes.
might
And
get
no!
killed.
Seb gets the Marana as well, and that's it. GG is the call from Iceberg. Win strike. They don't get their win against OG, and they will be forced into a tiebreaker.
They played a different style of Dota under Seb that year. In many ways, their in-game performance was a direct reflection of having a coach in the booth. They weren't afraid to level the opposition. Try that weird pocket pick or cheese strat, they were a coach's team. And along with some heroic performances from everyone on the roster, that style landed them a spot in the upper bracket, where they promptly dispatched VGJ Storm 2-0.
As they've waited out in this game. A lift up there with the Yule Scepter, light strike array as well, draining through the man, and the ice pack is safe, but he's gone! 100 seconds, has to buy back and get back into this fight. The Witcher's Curse, they turn it, they find him! Is he gonna go down? The Enchantress taking a ton of damage, they have the second light strike array, Weaver's down for 2 minutes! OG, they're taking them down, and this might be GG!
All of a sudden, this team filled with outcasts who'd been written off before the tournament even started were within striking distance of a TI final. But standing in their way was a familiar face, Fly and Evil Geniuses. If they wanted to make the Cinderella story come true, if Seb wanted to seize the career he'd always dreamed of, they'd have to dispatch the person who'd been there when it all started.
OG versus EG will round out day number 3. I'm so excited at all of those matches. I particularly want to see the last one.
I think it's safe to say, or fair to say, that EG are the favorites going into this.
Can he keep this man alive, though? He doesn't have the black hole back up. You have an Anna with a big gust heading him back. Tornado! Thompson! He's in with the back of the meter! Tony Block's coming down! Thompson with the save! Gets both of them! Thompson and Boca doing it big time on the main stage! Fly can't catch the for a dive as he's back up to the high ground. Curse from Noto comes out to the grid. Thompson keeping out of it. Oh, hang on. They'll take him into the snowball. They want to keep the try going. They get on top of the egg. They'll take down the egg. They'll find the egg. That punch clear. Quick's going to fall. Where's the team one? Oh my lord. OG. He's got a rapier, but it's almost certainly they're going for the pace. OG looking to close things up. They're onto the ancient. They're beating it down at a pace that EG can't compare to. GG is called. OG win the series 2-1 against Evil Geniuses, knocking EG down to the lower bracket. OG will move one step closer to the Aegis.
So here we have this gang of brothers. They'd overcome all the odds, conquered maybe their greatest nemesis, and found themselves in the upper bracket finals of TI, a single match away from the final. What was next? Well, now they had to make history. A Chinese team had always won TI during even-numbered years, and OG were facing off against that region's juggernaut and the world's top-ranked team, PSG LGD, who looked poised to repeat the pattern.
Sentry ward gets planted, Anna's still out of range of it. Observer and Sentry, they'll see Notal jump in right on top of him. He doesn't have that reincarnation back up against the Notal's down, but Anna, he turns on the damage. BKB with a Blackhand Jerks is there to help him out. Somnus standing his ground, the cold embrace. Anna does no more damage anymore. It's all up to Zeb. He looks for his target, and they pop him. They pop 2, they pop 3. Arme forced off to wait, and it's down, but ES is up where the Echo slam. Oh, there it is! Forward. There's your slam. There's the dunk. There's the play. Jirax, the savior of OG. They've got the control. X-Nova, he'll go down. This is the game. LGD have nothing left. OG have done it. It goes the distance. It goes to 3. OG, how many times have they reached the grand final, but only of a major, never of TI. Their roster was shattered into pieces. They pull it back.
Somehow, OG were on their way to the finals of the International 8.
We're gonna play the TI Grand Finals. I'll be a player in the TI Grand Finals. That sounded unreal.
I think they're just going to be fearless.
When it came time for the Grand Finals, they had a rematch on their hands.
OG versus PSG LGD, the Grand Finals of TI8. We've been waiting for this moment all day, and now a best-of-5 series between these two teams to determine who is the best at Dota 2 this year.
Give me 3 in game main stage, man. Topia's got his monkey, like, this treat everybody the same.
Happens when I rush.
Yes, that's what happens when I rush.
In more than one way, this match was all about Seb. Sure, No-Tail was a top player with a lot to prove. Thompson was surging onto the scene, and Anna had redefined position 1 throughout the tournament. But if OG were going to win TI, they'd need to outsmart LGD. They'd need to get in their heads.
He's gonna try to jump. I'm gonna do this.
Cancelled it.
I got
double guys! Oppa, boys! Get fucking fucked.
Zipping across towards Jarek, the ult out from the CM, but the meteor hammer from Seb's coming down. They've got the chain stun onto X-Nova. Anna's still alive for now. They get the double kill, the cold embrace, keeping Anna alive. The Winter's Curse holding back the attacks off the Chalice and charging so far. It'll fall. Triple kill for Anna.
OG took the first game, but after LGD fired back 2 games in a row, they found themselves with their backs against the wall.
Boys, first game from best of 3. Back against the wall. We knew we were going to get tested. We are getting tested. Yes. This is a rough situation to be in, of course, but we're going to overcome it together.
And then came Game 4, the biggest game in OG history, and notably the greatest game of Seb's life.
You said you really like Invoker? Yeah. Give the boy Invoker.
Invoker.
Yeah, this might be the last game. Seb back. Yes. Shit. Yes, man. Okay. Yes. Seb. You're gonna see, man. You're gonna see some shit, man.
This is my game, boys.
Much like games 2 and 3, they found themselves behind. But this time, an overlooked French coach with a mind for the game was not willing to lay down and die.
Get the rope shove. He's still pretty beefy, but is he beefy enough? I don't think so. The shards around, trapping him in. The spin, though, the taunt, the sunstrike. Sam, he gets the dunk off. The snowball save wasn't in time. And Jarex, he's in with the tether. OG. And more Somnus again with the doppelganger. Arme on top of Thompson. Thompson being saved by Jarex. Jarex with the tether. Arme turns the tether down. And there's the call. Sam, he catches Arme. Arme down for 2 minutes to hand. They've got Somnus as well. Oh, gee. The IO, but they're falling low. OGD. That's Somnus down for 2 minutes. They get Thompson. Thompson down for 2 minutes. Only Anna. Anna, can he do it here? He's at half belt. Sam gets the goal. He gets the goal of his lifetime. As 3 dead now on LGD. No buyback. Their heads is out. They're going to be able to find themselves challenged. 3 dead on LGD. OG hitting the ancient, hitting the ancient. We're going to a game 5.
We just need a butterfly. What is this shit, man? Guys, Seb, you carried so hard. Yeah, Seb carried fucking hard.
On the back of Seb and his timely axe pick, it was time for Game 5. And with that Seb call ringing in the back of the minds of millions around the world, OG did the impossible.
This is the game of our lives, man. Enjoy. Game 5, Grand Finals of TI. This is like, everything is gonna come together next game. Everything. And it's gonna be beautiful.
He uses himself up the flame guard, ticking F5 down like the silent fist. The RP, Seb, he's got the control onto Arme. As OG, they fight 3. They look towards Somnus, surrounding him in the pit. Somnus, he'll go down as well. The buyback from Anna, securing the fight here for OG. There's only X-Nova left alive, but not for long. They chase him down, they get the team-wide triple kill for Anna.
Focus up, guys. Focus up. We're not getting them anything. We're fucking them.
The game now. No Echo Slam or Global. The Ancient is exposed. As OG, the Nimbus down, the shockwave from Seb gets themselves another. They're onto the Ancient. Oh, gee. Oh, gee.
They've done it. They have done it.
Done it. The power of flowers and friendship. I've done it here, ladies and gentlemen. Your grand champions of TI8. It's OG.
I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it felt like we couldn't lose. For some reason, it felt like it was impossible to lose. It's like, some games, like, I don't know, we were like 2 sides behind, like 20, I don't even know like how bad it looked. Nothing was going for us, yet it felt like this game was fine. Like, it was, I don't know how to put it. Maybe we're just lunatics, I don't know. It felt like we were not gonna lose, and we didn't.
From a shattered team to TI champions in just months. Perhaps the greatest story in the history of Dota. And at the heart of it all was Seb, a guy that caught everyone off guard, even his own team. We all knew he had the smarts, but in 2018, he played better than he ever had. He played like a TI champion.
Wow. Sebastian had retired to become a coach, and he's like, well, you know what? I want to be back. I want to be a player. After After all these years. And here he is.
They did it. They lived the Dota dream. They were legends. After Ti9, they underwent some unforeseen hiccups involving Seb during the year, when, despite his newly minted heroic status in the world of Dota, he reverted back to the sometimes toxic attitude he made a name for himself with.
Dude, it's not a problem. We're just die for enough. We can kill him. It's so far.
Bro, I win TI, you buff player. Means I talk, you listen. Understand? Thank you.
Parts of the community were up in arms when Seb made hateful comments towards Russians in a public game, and there were cries for Valve to confront Seb about the issue. Even as a Dota legend, Seb was still the same old solo queue trash talker.
Welcome to the International.
2018 was nothing short of amazing. The story almost writes itself. But that doesn't change the fact that this was largely a taped together team. And even with the added chemistry a win like that can bring, OG weren't the favorite heading into Ti9. Far from it. But when they got back on that stage, that special feeling returned once again. They finished first in their group, playing the kind of Dota they'd become known for just a year earlier. It was time for this team to show everyone it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't just fate. They were the best, and that became clear all too quickly. Much like the year before, not even Fly could stand in their way.
To run out, easy protected by the BKB. He has to jump back in again. Crit, S4, they even get the Tornado onto Arteezy over the tree line. Goodbye. The lights are going out for EG right now. Luckily, this is a winner's bracket, but OG, they will push forward to the winner's bracket final, repeating the history of TI9, 2-1ing EG.
Neither could LGD.
Went tier 4 down, a break, on to Jerix, immediately disruption going out, Ame. He's been disrupted, his illusions, gotta stay away from those, he's gonna go for Thompson here. BKB activated, Soul Catcher on him, press T9 helping him out, Earth Splitter. Oh, but they caught the duel, they caught Ame, and he's dead for 2 minutes! The volley's coming in, but it's not good enough! Now, the physical damage will overrun the throne, and PSG LGD in a 3 versus 5 can no longer hold. OG in the upper bracket finals, bring down LGD. OG are going to the grand finals for the 2nd year in a row.
They will have the opportunity to defend their throne. If you come at the Kings, you best not miss.
Sebastian, I mean, honestly, I dedicate this tournament to him. Oh, fuck, this is so crazy.
You're making me cry. Stop it.
No, but really, thank you, Sebastian. And of course, everyone else. Just feeling so fucking lucky, feeling so fucking good.
OG were back in the grand finals of the International. Nobody had ever won back-to-back TIs. No single player had even won 2. But as they stared down Team Liquid across the stage, that was about to change.
For this defender, try and change the ball. Thompson, the rocket barrage brings Miracle down, then the Shackle turn around, they're looking for Jarrett's. Jarrett's backing away. Thompson focusing Miracle. Miracle's still out of mana because of this diffusion. Jarrett's, he's able to cover, the GA is out. Weehole will fall though, the magic damage is there for Thompson. He's ready to try and look for more potentially. There's only the once.
They go for the back line.
Thompson, he's on top of Kuro. Noah cooldowns there, the toss back into the combo. Jarrett's has the control. They're all getting picked apart as mind control falls. Miracle is surrounded, and they're able to get this as well. OG, they will hold.
And they're even taunting, they toss him to the dragon.
They have nothing to offer, folks.
They're just giving, look at this, they're guiding Fountain in TI finals. They want Kuroki in the Fountain as well. They're gonna get him, they're chasing Miracle as well. Oh my God.
I can't believe this. I can't believe what we're seeing in this game for OG. You thought you saw it all again, so you thought you saw it all again. There is gone. OG are your 2-time TI champions. They've done it, folks.
And in what a fashion. These last 3 games didn't even seem close. Liquid, they had something going for themselves, but then they hit the brick wall. OG is the best team in the world. They are on a completely different level.
No question. They are so far ahead of anybody else that plays this game for a living. OG, the best team of all time, and with this, their 2nd TI win. And not just the 2nd TI win, but the 2nd back-to-back. They do it 2 years in a row. There is no question that we are witnessing the best team of all time.
There are no words that can do what OG has accomplished over the past 2 years justice. They proved everybody wrong about what it meant to be champions in this game. And at the heart of it all was one grinder, a Dota fiend, Seb. A player who is never meant to be the greatest, never fated to be a household name, someone who never stopped working and never gave up on the dream. A symbol of the obsessed, of the incredible journey that is Dota, where the thing you want more than anything, to be truly great, can slip right through your hands, only to reappear amidst chaos to change the game.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring that notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit up our Instagram, Twitter, and
Sometimes, a player's greatest opponent isn't another player. It isn't criticism.
You're gonna go into the post-match thread and you're gonna write, "Wow, OG is so good, but I still don't think Ana is a very good mid player."
It isn't some decade-old curse or an army of incredible teams.
I think it's safe to say, or fair to say, that EG are the favorites going into this. They looked super good in the group stage. They looked really convincing in their first upper bracket match.
Sometimes, a player's greatest opponent is themselves.
When I first started, it was really hard. I think I was inexperienced, like, even in life. I didn't know myself.
For a long time, people thought that Anathan Anafam was one of the most overrated players in Dota. A self-conscious 16-year-old who didn't have the mental fortitude to cut it in the big leagues, even though he played for one of the biggest teams in the world. Those people were wrong. Now, he's a 2-time major winner, one of the only players to ever win back-to-back TIs, and as far as the community is concerned, the undisputable god of Dota. But he didn't just have to beat the best teams in the world to make history. He had to beat himself. So, how did Ana go from a villainized prodigy to basically the most successful player to ever touch the game? Well, it all started in 2016. Back then, Ana was a shy Australian pub star who made a name for himself climbing Dota 2's ranked ladder. But the thing that stood out about him from the get-go was his playstyle. Unlike Sumail and Miracle, he wasn't loud, confident, and flashy. On the contrary, he was quiet, cerebral, and unpredictable.
I reckon Nathan's always been shy. I think that's how he gets away with being sneaky.
He never shows you his entire hand. He always has something hidden or up his sleeve. It allows him to have an advantage that you don't know.
Still, he caught the attention of Invictus Gaming, who asked him in March to be a substitute for their legendary mid laner, Ferrari 430.
Eventually, IG came forward and was like, hey, do you want to give it a shot with us? You know, it's any boy's dream. So when the opportunity comes out for your brother, you can't help but say, do it.
Ana won his first LAN just a few months later in July. His entrance into the pro scene had been kind of low-key, but he'd caught the attention of the international community. And everyone was wondering the same thing. Who the hell was this guy?
I remember like one of the first comments I saw was just like, Ana, I thought it was a girl. Like everyone thought he was a girl at the start. So it was just funny knowing just like, nah, he's my brother, he's a guy.
But one team was particularly interested in Ana, OG.
And after TI, OG wanted me. OG was like one of the best in the world. I thought it would be like too much of a leap for me, but that's the reason why I learned the most here, because everything was like a massive leap.
The pickup was a bit of a surprise. OG had won 2 majors during their 2016-2017 season, and after bombing out of TI, lost their star mid laner, Miracle. So picking up a player as unknown as Ana seemed risky.
It was kind of a risk in a way, but from my perspective, first conversation with Ana. Ana said, let's go win some majors. And there was an S there, you know? So one was not enough. There's that insane confidence in him. Let's go win some majors.
That said, OG had developed a reputation for winning majors. And let's just say that signing Ana didn't exactly buck that trend.
And GG is called. Your champions are OG. No hotel. It's like they've won 3 majors. It's an incredible feat. At Finimo, giving us a real absolute cracker of a final series.
GG! OG will be claimed 4-time DOTA2 major winners here in Kiev. They upset the local team in OG. You would think with that celebration, it was the first time they won a major.
The problem is that Ana was inconsistent. Oftentimes, it didn't feel like OG were winning because of him, but rather in spite of him.
And now Jerax is here for the rotation. Jab's in a very unfortunate situation. He is going to die for sure.
That mild step back, unfortunately. He'll try to go through the fairy fire. Step back
Oh
and gets the laser regardless, right into the face of Ana. He'll say worth.
See, Ana was the kind of player who let his emotions get the better of him.
Big storm, like, we didn't fight at all. It's really frustrating.
Yeah,
I
it was a hard game. It's a hard game.
No, I can't play it. Like.
No, listen why it's a hard game. It's a hard game because we have heroes that are very passive. Like we let them dictate the pace of the game, and it doesn't feel good. We can win with this lineup. Like there's been some really good fights.
Yeah, but I'm too far behind.
It's fine. It doesn't matter. Sure.
Sometimes he'd single-handedly carry OG to victory.
Kiev Major for Ana, it showed like what kind of a player he is.
It's committed, and Ana feels it's the opportunity.
He doesn't really think of the things that can go bad. He thinks about what he can do, and then he goes for it. No hesitation.
I'm just gonna run in and fuck with him. You know?
That is the best way to play it. And Ana, he had it inside him.
Other times, he spelled disaster for the team. And then, at Ti9, it all came crashing down. After an insane season, OG placed 7th, 8th at a tournament they were supposed to win. And Ana announced that he was taking a break from competitive Dota.
After Ti9, there was a bit of fatigue, especially in Ana.
People can get really harsh, even towards a 17-year-old boy that is thousands of miles away from home. And it happens very often in Dota. And that's what it was with Ana. I mean, he was getting a lot of flack. A lot of players, they just break because of it.
And then, Ana just kind of disappeared. Occasionally he'd pop up in some random stack at some qualifier, but the general consensus was that he'd retired. That the stakes had been too high and he was too fragile.
It's just one tournament, but you screw it up once and it's gone. It's a lot of pressure and I didn't really enjoy that pressure.
And then, in May 2018, Fly and S4 ditched a declining OG for Evil Geniuses. After acquiring Thompson, OG had just 1 month to find a new carry player. The issue was that all the top tier choices were already on top tier teams. Well, all except for one.
The next logical choice for us was Ana.
Ana hadn't played for a long time. We knew Ana though. We knew how powerful he was as a player.
Ana coming back? I mean, people at that point were like, probably the last person still available. Sure, why not?
With Ana back on the team, OG Cinderella'd their way through Ti8. And it quickly became clear that something within him had changed. Make no mistake, Ana was still the same nervous, self-conscious guy he'd always been. But this time, it wasn't affecting his performance.
You can start to feel something building here for OG.
The previous year at Ti9, it seemed like Ana, he was the one that was playing inconsistently, not doing well, getting the most heat from the public. And now all of a sudden, people started looking back and being like, maybe Ana was the magic to their team.
In a meta where carry players were struggling to perform, Ana didn't just excel. He played out of his fucking mind.
These saves are just so crazy how
I
good
can't
Living
believe
Armor
they
can
didn't go
be.
down.
BKB even went off too, so it ticks down to 9 seconds now, but these saves just back and forth, be it from the cold embraces, even the curse to protect him in some situations. That right there, the overgrowth. Look at Ana. It looks like he's just dead in this situation over and over again.
As you said, the combination, the living armor, saving him for those first few rainbows coming in from Chalice, and then the cold embrace, they just couldn't kill him off. They're confident, knowing Seb can sit there on the high ground, ready with the counterplay. Arme getting sprouted. Chalice looks to make a play, jumps in, immediately going for it with the lasso. Has he got the control to get the damage out? He can. That's going to be Ana dead, but Ana bites back straight away. Arme moving in with the BKB. Roshan's still alive throughout this all. They've lost Thompson. The slight, the change, the remnant across. They'll get the kill onto Chalice, but now Ana's in the middle of it all. Uses himself up the flame guard, ticking F1 down like a sleight of fist. The RP, Seb, he's got the control onto Arme. As OG, they find 3. They look towards Somnus, surrounding him in the pit. Somnus, he'll go down as well. The buyback from Ana, securing the fight here for OG. Oh, the RP's just on the tip, pulls him in, but it's not enough to buy time to kill him. As Arme, there with the turnaround, past the Sunder onto Ana. Ana's able to remnant out to the side. Chalice hiding in the trees. Thompson Starting to throw out the lightning as Ame. Chalice backing away. Skewer forward from Seb as he clears out the trees. Chalice still with a Firefly, getting himself away. Will jump himself away from the Nimbus. Backs himself up. X-Nova's got to be careful. He's incredibly low. They're looking to set up with the Torrent. Ame has been sprouted. The stolen Fisher for Jarex. Out onto Ame, but then finds it with the slam. Is it enough? No, it's not. LGD, they've lost 2 yet again, but they have managed to find 2 in return. Anna's still alive. The Flame Guard keeping it fine again. The Sleight of Fist cuts down a second double kill for Anna. Chalice surrounded by Seb and Anna here in the trees as OG get the team wipe.
2 months after rejoining OG, Ana was seen as a huge part of the craziest TI win the Dota world had ever seen.
OG.
Congratulations
OG.
to OG. They deserved it. They played out of their minds in the entire tournament. They didn't follow anyone else's strategy. Maybe that was a stepping stone.
They just played their own game, and it was miraculous.
But the journey had been long, tiresome, and stressful. And just as quickly as he'd arrived, he was gone.
I mean, when I first talked to Anna, it was early 2017, I believe, and the first sentence, or like the last sentence before he joined the team, was let's win some majors and a TI, and it was kind of what was missing. So
hired.
It was like Seb did, he did it, and now he's out. Yeah,
job's done.
Yeah, that's all you asked for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over the next few months, OG tried out carry player after carry player, but none of them stuck. And they went back to being that same uninspired roster they were before their fated win at TI. And then, in March, OG announced that Ana was back on the active roster. The community immediately started memeing that with Ana back in the lineup, the stars had finally aligned for OG to be the first ever repeat TI champion.
So why is it that winning 2 TIs has been so difficult thus far?
Well, it hasn't been that difficult for us so far. We're not there yet.
But even with the return of Ana, OG still seemed pretty medium. They finished 10th on the Dota Pro circuit, which meant that they had enough points to qualify for Ti9, but nobody really expected much of them once the group stage rolled around. What happened next, though, shocked the Dota world to its core.
Even Infamous isn't wearing that. They like carried.
Whoa! What the
hell's going on?
What is happening? Is this a carry axe?
Have we? Dude, I'm ready.
I want carry axe so bad.
Oh, they're doing something. What is it, Kyle?
4-2.
Okay, I can see that. It's Jarex is gonna be the.
Okay, so I'm already wrong.
Seb on X.
Ana, Io, no tail. All right.
What the hell? He gets rooted, so he can't even get on top of anyone. Seb just gets his BKB up. OG's just kiting around everywhere. Ace has to run away. He just dies to the orb. It's too much. The Ana IO. They're just going into there. They can't do anything. They're all just spraying. What can you do? Give someone a rampage? I don't think they can. They're going into the fountain. They're waiting for NIP to call GG, but they won't. And look at this. They go in. Ana with a triple kill. Ana with an ultra kill. There's a Sand King. Where is he? They know. The IO doesn't have ulti to come get him, though. It looks like they're just going to end the game here. And there's the GG's called.
On the back of Ana's carry wisp, OG finished 13-1 in groups, then steamrolled their way to the International Grand Finals for the 2nd year in a row. The difference was that this year, they didn't seem to take any part of it seriously.
Nothing is really going here, and Thompson, he's the man that's going into the fountain once again. Bathe in the glory of the Radiant. Thompson, he just does not give a crap. Ana will give all the life. This is just fountain farming. Gee, you got it. This is soul breaking. GG. Okay. GG. The message has been sent.
It is looking spicy for OG right now. That is true. Their laning stage, I was skeptical in the start, especially about this bottom lane, but things are looking great right now, mainly because our team, they're actually just...
Put the flag down, build a wall, and Arteezy can't cross it. Top lane, Seb's in real trouble in the middle of the call down. The attendants will not help him. The homing missile from Samel will wipe that smile off his face while Fly under the tier 2 tower. Jirax and Thompson once again comboing together. They're the Smash Brothers right now. S4 as well as Arteezy, the TP out, the stun, space created, and Jirax will also leave.
And somehow, Ana seemed completely unaffected by the pressure. Sometimes a little too unaffected.
And it'll be Ana who'll claim the life in a double kill against Pylai Dai. And Seb, he's also looking for his own fight. Everyone's having their own engagements. CC and C trying to bring down Seb. It won't be enough though. The Yule Scepter up. My bad indeed. Skewers through it. Great side of fist. CC and C is actually going to claim that life.
At Ti8, Ana proved that he had what it took to be a champion. Come Ti9 though, he just lost all reservations about playing that way.
Roll forward for G8 for Seb, cuts him down from Chakram, double kill, they're pushing on OG, Liquid getting forced back to the base as Liquid have nothing! They have nothing to offer, folks!
They're just giving, look at this, they're diving Fountain in TI Finals, they want Kuroki in the Fountain as well, they're gonna get him, they're chasing Miracle as well. Oh my god!
I can't believe this. I can't believe what we're seeing in this game 4. OG, you thought you saw it all in game 2, you thought you saw it all in game 3, there it is, gold! OG are your two-time TI champions, they've done it, folks!
Despite all the memeing, chat wheeling, and fountain farming, Ana emerged from Ti9 as arguably the greatest Dota player ever. And now, between the announcement of OG's post-TI break and a cryptic tweet from NoTail, it remains to be seen what Ana will do next.
It's not a break per se. Like, there should be an off-season in Dota. There should be time for us to appreciate what we've achieved, you know, rebuild, recreate the fire. We're not gonna win TI if we start grinding right away, you know? We're gonna be burned out. We will lose TI. And our aim is to win TI10. You know, our aim is to to keep going, to keep building.
Despite the fact that Ana has been a professional Dota player for just over 3 years, he's only actually played for about a year and a half. In that time, he's won 2 majors, 2 TIs, retired twice, if not 3 times, and accrued just over $6 million in prize winnings. He is, in no uncertain terms, one of the most successful competitors in any esport ever.
They did it, and now I'm still scared of them.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're going anywhere. Why would you, right?
Well, Ana is. He's going to go on vacation
Well, Oh, yeah, for a little bit. He'll come back.
The dude could take 11.5 months off, come back a couple of weeks before TI, cruise into the group stages, and they'd be fine. Like, he's a machine.
The Chinese community have literally dubbed him the god of Dota. Not the A god or the Ana god, they've placed him above every other player.
He's incredibly talented, and like, I admirative of what he does with the game, and I truly am admirative of all of my teammates, really, everything they do with this game.
And even if he doesn't return to OG, he'll go down in Dota history as a legend. A player who conquered the greatest obstacle of all, himself, to become the best. Of course, if Ana does emerge from the mists of fate and rejoin OG, they'll probably win TI for a 3rd time, at which point the community will probably start a religion in his name or something. God knows I'd join.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring that notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit up our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages.
We all remember OG's incredible TI win last year.
The power of flowers and friendship.
From the anime-grade betrayal that was Fly and S4's departure.
OG with the fortitude to stick through it after dealing with such adversity as Ti9.
Oh, the look there from NoTail.
From OG's insane run from a last place ranking to the Aegis.
I would not have picked them as a favorite for a single series they played at TI. No. And somehow they did it.
OG's story was the stuff dreams are made of.
Cinderella's story ain't got nothing on this!
But the thing that made it all the more incredible was their 20-year-old rookie mid laner. Not only was he picked up just 3 months before TI, Topias Thompson Tavitsainen had virtually 0 LAN experience before setting foot on the biggest stage in Dota.
$3,000 in your pocket, you come to TI, you get an email from NoTail, you're a TI champion. What?
Thanks to one tournament, this quiet and unassuming Finn went from streaming in his bedroom to shaking hands with the president.
A year ago right now, if someone had told you that you would be playing in the grand final of TI8, would you have believed them?
No, no way.
From a pub star with a small hero pool to the single most explosive rookie in the history of competitive gaming.
Tornado, Thompson, he's in with the back of the meteor. Tommy coming down, Thompson with the save, gets both again. Thompson invoker
Thompson was pretty unknown before joining OG. What little reputation he had, he built by climbing to the top of the European leaderboards, all with very little professional experience.
Thompson, a pub star who has been playing for years. Thompson is unique in that he is extremely entertaining, and he has streamed his entire journey from being a pretty good pub player to one of the best players in the world over the last few years.
The thing is, for the top-ranked player in Europe, Thompson played some pretty weird shit. In addition to having a small hero pool, Thompson did not play traditional mid laners. Instead, he played heroes like Monkey King and Arc Warden and... Tegna!
What's up, boys? What's up?
His only saving grace was his formidable Invoker, but even then, he saw fit to add his own unorthodox twist by building Meteor Hammer. An item that was so useless at launch, the community called it the Meme Hammer.
Where most invokers are relatively worthless in the beginning of the game, his is diving your towers with a Quas Wex Spirit Vessel, dropping meme hammers on your racks by 12 minutes.
In fact, Thompson's weird heroes and stupid builds ended up pissing off a lot of people he played with, especially the pros. Puppy actually lashed out at him in a pub game. The problem was that the bigger he got, the more skeptical everyone became.
He is not the pub star everyone thinks he is. He's good, but he's never going to be a tier 1 in-your-face great player. Like, if you watch Tops, he just doesn't have the mechanical skills to do it. He's a very good player, but he's not going to be the next Miracle, the next Sumail.
Well, almost everyone.
This guy he might not have experience like competitively, but when it comes to like playing Dota, that guy is extremely experienced. Like, he has a perfect understanding of what he does, like the heroes he plays, how he wants to play them and stuff.
OG were once the best Dota team in the world.
The esteemed OG, a multi-major winning team who won 4 out of the 5 Valve majors before the DPC. When it came to majors, OG were virtually untouchable.
The problem was that despite almost always being the favorites, they suffered humiliating losses at TI.
The Filipinos have eliminated OG! TNT have done it! The dream, the reality!
Wow, look at them cheering in the booth. They have to be so incredibly happy with that win.
And by mid-2018, even the team's results outside of TI had begun to decline. Eventually, they lost Fly and S4 to Evil Geniuses.
I can just say that the way it happened was not nice towards the ones that were left behind, as we were left with obviously no options, and as you said, that we're talking like a couple of hours because before we have to fly to the Super Major and obviously the International.
Seb, Jerax, and NoTail were in dire need of a carry and a mid laner if they wanted to have any hope of qualifying for TI. And so, they called Thompson.
For Thompson, it was pretty quick. That guy has just been playing pubs, and yeah, I don't think he hesitated even for a second.
From the outside looking in though, OG had been gutted. Despite their best efforts to put together a roster in time for TI, it seemed all but certain they'd bomb out of the qualifiers, and that EG had a real shot of lifting the Aegis with their former players.
EG will take your young, your Europeans to play for our screaming masses. And with the International 8 being in Vancouver, our TZ's hometown, the team feels right at home.
But against every odd, OG did make it to TI. They earned Europe's only qualifier spot and took their place in the group stage.
OG, I really wondered if they were going to have a good performance after Birmingham. Because actually when I started to wonder, good rock, perfect fatal bonds, the Mystic Flares are bouncing on everywhere, but it's the double concussive orbs as well. The shots is just an extra orb for everyone. And yeah, this is the game. GG. GG is the call. OG will be the European representative through the qualifiers going to the International 2018.
And at TI, Thompson set out to prove that he wasn't just a pub star with weird tastes. That he was a mid-laning, microing, meme-hammering specialist. One that knew the ins and outs of not only his own heroes, but his opponents too.
It's kind of a big loss.
They kind of forgot about it as bottom lane Sumail. Oh my gosh, he doesn't even get a chance to ball on out. Double damage. Monkey King drops on top of him, takes him out.
Thompson. For the wraparound onto S4 again. Ghost Shroud is there. Thompson quick with the Tornado, EMP combo. Someone needs to come across and help S4. As S4 just getting solo killed here by Thompson. Tornado, Thompson, he's in with the back of the meteor. Tony Glass coming down. Thompson with the save. Gets both of them. time on the main stage.
A cold, calculating, chat-wheeling machine.
But Thompson, he's actually got some
damage.
decent damage. Miss uphill, is it going to happen? No, it doesn't. Decrepify, he just has to wait, and with the blast, Thompson! He has been an absolute genius.
Thompson is actually sticking around, has the sentry advantage here, so does know what Ame is up to. Kind of looks like he's baiting it.
Yeah, you did do that.
He was baiting it. He was baiting it.
Before long, it became clear that Thompson was exactly what OG needed. A soldier. Someone who would keep fighting, no matter how hopeless it seemed.
It's like, okay, yeah, they won that one, but what about the next one? Okay, what about the next one? And they just refused, never say die.
Someone who shared OG's ability to make batshit comebacks against insurmountable odds.
Thompson needs to defend. X-Nova very visible. You've got a very, very low life Mirana, but OG, they can't find the target. X-Nova, he's got the grip, he's got the control, he's got the kill. Thompson is down, but ES is up. Where the Echo slam.
Oh, there it is.
Forward. There's your slam. There's the dump. There's the play. Jirax, the savior of OG. Another TP coming forward. Hook shot from FY. Gets involved in the fight, but Thompson will arrive. Hexing up onto FY. The leap out. The fissure is available. Is there a follow-up? Thompson is there. They push forward. They get the control, and they're bringing FY down. LGD with 4 heroes who do not have buyback. OG, they are gonna push. The lead comes forward. They've got the control. X-Nova, he'll go down. This is the game. LGD have nothing left. OG have done it. It goes the distance. It goes to 3.
The rest, of course, is history. OG ran through the entire upper bracket before mounting an incredible comeback against PSG LGD in what's now considered the best TI final of all time. Leaving aside his mechanics, what stood out the most about Thompson was his composure. This guy was going up against the biggest names in the world, on the biggest stage in the world, and none of it fazed him.
I played Dota for 12 years now, and I don't know, I've started playing like more serious 1 year ago, and yeah, now I'm at TI. Feels good. We were confident, of course, yeah. I mean, not overconfident for sure, but we are a good, skilled team, and we're gonna beat every team here.
Ti9 wasn't just Thompson's first TI, it was his first noteworthy LAN.
Thompson, $3,000 in your pocket. You come to TI, you get an email from Notel, you're a TI champion. What?
That's not to say he never felt the pressure.
Still looking good here. Sumail on his second life goes balling in, catches out the Oracle as well as Thompson's Arc Warden on the back lines here. Thompson, he's just trying to TP his hero out of there. But he missed TP. He TP'd to the tier 1. What's he thinking? He's being pinged here. Crit gonna give him the tip.
Or that he didn't get dumpstered from time to time.
I don't know which one he wants to go for first.
Thompson. Oh. He went in invis and then he came out of it. They had him under the tower. They dive in and find the kill.
Oh, he said it all there with a whoops.
But he never succumbed to that pressure. He always bounced back.
I want to be clear that I think no one else in the world would win that game on Monkey King when you're that far behind.
There's no denying the absurdity of Thompson's feat. In just a few days, he achieved what takes most players years.
I would not have picked them as a favorite for a single series they played at TI. No. And somehow they did it.
He went from an unproven amateur to a Dota god, not to mention one of the highest earning players in Dota history. He even got invited to dinner at Finland's presidential palace. Now, the question on a lot of people's minds is, can he ever achieve that kind of success again? And the answer is, it doesn't really matter. Through a combination of fate, luck, and sheer unadulterated resilience, Thompson's name is carved into the ages forever. And in the world of Dota, that means you've ascended, that you've become immortal, that come what may, you will forever be one of the best.
The greatest Cinderella story in the history of Dota 2.
Immortality.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring that notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit up our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages.
Oh hey, it's you again. I'm getting ready for a road trip, and I never travel without a handy snack. So together...
Back-to-back games. OG with the fortitude to stick through it after dealing with such adversity against Ti9.
Oh, the look there from Nota. I mean, you could feel it this game.
Betrayal cuts deep. Losing hurts, especially when you lose on the biggest stage your game has to offer, when you lose in front of everyone, when you lose to the underdogs. But there's something worse than losing. There's nothing more painful than being betrayed. Seeing someone you considered a friend turn against you, turn against the philosophy you once shared, turn against the band of brothers you put together to win with. And there's nothing better than getting revenge.
The power of flowers and friendship. I've done it here, ladies and gentlemen. Your grand champions of TI8. It's OG. Can you believe it?
OG was founded on a simple principle. Johan, No-Tail, Sunstein, and Tallfly Isaac were tired of being tossed from team to team without really getting a chance to develop. They believed that if a team stuck together for long enough, if they believed in their ability to play together, they could win anything.
RG will be claimed 4-time DOTA2 major winners here in Kiev.
They were almost right.
OG, their run ends here.
OG won 4 Dota 2 majors, more than any other team in history, and every time the International came around, they were favorites.
Prediction one way or the other?
OG.
With Fly at the helm as captain and No-Tail at his side, OG looks strong going into TI. They boasted team chemistry, one of the best players in Dota history, and promising rookies. But they never succeeded. Things shifted ahead of TI8. The OG of the 2017-2018 season was not the OG fans came to recognize. The team just couldn't put together wins when it mattered, falling to weaker teams and lagging behind in the Dota 2 Pro circuit. It looked like they weren't going to make it to TI. In May, Fly broke the promise on which OG was founded. After 2 years of leading, building, and supporting OG, he left. He took Gustav S4 Magnuson and went to Evil Geniuses, long considered North America's best team. Evil Geniuses has never had the player loyalty that defined OG. That isn't necessarily a bad thing, as the team is a perennial TI powerhouse. But it means that even after winning TI, they were willing to drop one of the players that earned them the Aegis.
We ended up releasing AUI and bringing in our old teammate Arteezy to play with us, and it's just kind of what everyone on our team thought was best for us going into this next year.
They've got the money, the reputation, and the core talent that could convince any player to leave one team and join their hallowed ranks. And Fly was convinced.
Fly and S4, why did you leave OG?
The team hasn't worked for a long time, and I can say personally that I lost a lot of motivation when the whole situation arose where I could join EG. I felt a new surge of motivation where I felt like this is really a team I could win with, as opposed to the previous team where I felt like we kind of hit a dead end. In the end, I want to win, and I want to do it with teammates I believe in.
The change meant that both EG and OG would have to go through the open qualifiers to make TI, but the addition of Fly and S4 made EG suddenly look like serious contenders to lift the Aegis of Champions, at least on paper. OG, on the other hand, were disregarded. Without their captain and one of their star players, fans didn't even think they could make it through the open qualifiers. OG signed Topias Topson Tavitsainen, a promising young rookie, and moved their coach, Sebastian Seb Debs, onto the main lineup. Still, few had OG pegged to make a deep run at TI, or even make it at all. But if there's anything that can fuel a team to victory, it's revenge.
GG. GG is the call. OG will be the European representative through the qualifiers going to the International 2018.
But even once they made it to TI, hopes weren't high for OG.
There's still a lot of questions around OG though.
Yes.
Because you look at LGD had tagged up in the top 3 to go through, but OG were a team that came through, they obviously had their roster ripped apart by evil geniuses.
But they were at TI, and that meant they had a chance. A chance to win, but perhaps more importantly, a chance to get revenge on their former captain, their brother who betrayed them.
It is obviously never going to be easy to win a TI. Nobody has done it twice. But this year, I think our chances are actually better than they've ever been. That's my personal gut feeling.
OG had a tough group, arguably the harder of the two, but they stayed strong. Even after taking a 2-0 loss to Fly and EG on the second day.
Back, accept them around, and they're going to GG out. EG have turned around a bad start here in game number 2 and taken down OG.
And in the end, they came out in 4th, with a spot in the upper bracket and a clear path to a fated rematch against EG. Both EG and OG dispatched their first round opponents with ease, 2-0.
Shrekaway as well, draining through the man of the ice path, the save, and he's gone! 100 seconds, has to buy back and get back into this fight. OG taking the tier 3 tower, now moving on to the other barracks. How quickly things change. Only now a 3,000 gold lead. It's like for now, they're just going to calmly start backing away. Oh, but no, it's them. The Winter's Curse, they turn it, they find him. Is he going to go down? The Enchantress taking a ton of damage. They have the second leg check around. Cleaver's down for 2 minutes. OG, they're taking them down. It might be enough. The Winter's Curse, though, to turn it back around. Great play. They're all caught in it. The light decorate on the 4. There's no Orpheus coming from the middle. They get the sun off, but it's not going to last. They turn on to Rezo, get the bash, find the kill. MSS also in trouble as all of BGJ Storm fall.
They were qualified for the upper bracket semifinals for a match against each other. The stage was set. EG against OG. Blue against green. Brother against brother. Fly against No Tail.
So we're going to talk about the thing that everybody's talking about, which is S4 and Fly leaving, and you all had to reset pretty quickly. No Tail, for you, what was that like, going through that change?
I'm actually not that willing to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's something for later, another day.
Can you help people understand why you don't want to talk about it so that we can all leave you alone?
It's just personal.
Everyone has their own analogy about this matchup, right? There's many stories to be told, but obviously one that dates a little back to the old OG squad and how now these two squads have come to be in their current form. Winner, do you think that's going to play a role in this matchup between the two?
Yeah, both teams understand each other really well, right, in terms of crafting, what they want to do.
He's got his eyes on the pick. Can he time it perfectly? The Tornado coming in for the side, just managed to catch him. It's pretty low. They're moving into the pit. There's the black hole. Coming out onto the two of them. They've lost the bench. The Roshan still being focused by RTZ. Jarek's RTZ still alive with the Shadow Blade set. Finally gets taken down by Samel. Samel's held in place by the ice wall. Jarek's into the pit. There's been the buyback from Fly. Samel goes down. Thompson able to find him with a cold snap. Jarek's will tick down to the magnetized. Roshan still alive for now. The silence from Crit out onto Thompson. RTZ doppelganger still alive. Gets on top of the Evoker. Thompson falls back towards the pit. Notel's trying to find him with the slow kill down to Roshan. They get the kill, but Crit gets the Aegis. Triple kill for Crit, and he's not done yet. Rolls forward, looks for Jarek. Jarek taken on as well.
Game 1 was close.
They find the Crit. They're going to find S4. They're going to find Fly as well. GG is called. And game 1 in a series where I think a lot of people would have expected to see something quite fantastic from EG. OG. They absolutely crushed it, 32 minutes in 18.
And while Game 2 looked close as well,
just abandoned on their top lane. Mid lane EG, they're trying to fight, but Samel, he's going to potentially going down as well. The curse starting to take him down. He's got the stick charges, but again, the rave pop down, so Samel cannot get out. Fly can't catch the Icarus divers. He's back up to the high ground. Curse from Notel comes down to the 3 of them. Thompson TPing out of it. Oh, hang on. They'll take him into the snowball. They want to keep this fight going. They get on top of Samel. They'll take down the egg. They'll find the egg. They'll punch Crit up. Crit's going to fall. Oh, there's a team wipe.
EG still managed to snuff them out in a dominant performance.
EG looking to close the game out. The GG is called. And EG drawing the series to a game 3.
The score was 1-1. EG were still the favorite and OG still the underdogs. Sitting directly across from Fly, No Tail knew exactly how much was on the line. he wasn't just fighting for a spot in the upper bracket finals. He wasn't just fighting for more prize money. He was fighting for his principles, for his belief in a team he and Fly built on an understanding that loyalty and friendship meant more than money or championships. No-Tail was fighting for the very soul of OG, and his team was behind him every step of the way. Things got off to a bad start for OG.
Straight in with the avalanche, toss to follow the pop, the stampede. Can they get stops and out of here? They cannot.
And they only got worse.
He's in! For Flowmo, who's still coming doing the balls, caught out for Jarex. S4 crit, they're getting loaded, lost 2 EG, S4, trying to run, but he can't escape. The Byron's gonna come out straight away here for a crit. Sumail, RTG's still alive for now. Anna getting tossed up, tossed back. Sumail, he's gonna stand up for Seth. Back with the who's up, Sumail managed to pick up an ultra kill before he went down.
EG had taken 2 Roshans, had the pressure on OG's barracks, and were getting ready to close out the game. But OG persevered and pulled out a miracle.
Oh goodness, we saw EG in game 2 make quite a comeback. Could OG make even a bigger comeback here in game 3? Because Thundergod's Wrath used by Thompson. They'll pop the horn. RTG just have to pop the BKB runaway. Crit gets surrounded. Crit gets taken down. They'll go for the Supernova. OG looking towards the sun. Can they take it down in time? They can. They get the Supernova. Sumail going in with the BKB. Looking towards the sun. Brings down Seth Banana. Still alive. Cuts down Sumail. Double kill for Anna. S4 trying to run himself away for Jax. His pulled for Jax. With the right clicks gets the kill.
After a grueling 53-minute game, OG emerged victorious, and No-Tail had his revenge.
They're onto the ancient, they're beating it down at a pace that EG can't compare to. GG is called. OG win the series 2-1 against Evil Geniuses, knocking EG down to the lower bracket. OG will move one step closer to the Aegis.
Unbelievable comebacks we have between these two teams in 2 back-to-back games. OG with the fortitude to stick through it after dealing with such adversity with Ti9.
Oh, the look there from No-Tail. I mean, you could feel it this game. There was the drama, there was the passion, and OG, against any other team, I don't know if they would have played as well as they did here.
The time for revenge was over. Now, it was time for vindication.
To OG, it's the element of surprise that they have to play on, so I'm expecting just a lot of creativity from them. But if LGD show up with their absolute best, I do feel like they have an edge.
Yeah, a lot of times it did feel like OG was kind of able to force mistakes out of their opponent by surprise and then take advantage of that momentum, whereas LGD, we discussed earlier, just plays a clean game.
Despite beating EG, OG had a long way to go. There was still one more team between them and the grand finals, PSG LGD. Up until 2018, TI was defined by a cycle. Every even year, a Chinese team lifted the Aegis, and LGD were the only Chinese team left in the bracket. Of course, it wasn't just fate that was on their side, it was skill. LGD may have only come out of the group stage in 3rd place, but they dominated 2 powerhouse teams on their way to the upper bracket finals, 2-0 over both Virtus Pro and defending champions Team Liquid.
He's already dead. He doesn't have buyback either. Pro's gonna fall. TH is dead. The captain's last standing. And Liquid call it. PSG LGD will take Liquid down to lower bracket and move on.
But by now, OG were used to being the underdogs. This was already their best TI performance in the team's history. Why not just take it a little farther?
Seb, RP, pull them back away from the Cataclysm, but into your home. Unwelcome visitors. OG, they can't find the target. X-Nova, he's got the grip, he's got the control, he's got the kill. Thompson is down, but ES is up. Where the Echo slam.
Oh, there he is!
Bouncing forward. There's your slam. There's the dump. There's the play. Done it! It goes the distance. It goes to 3.
Once again, OG silenced their doubters. They defeated LGD 2-1 thanks to an incredible comeback and secured a spot in the grand finals. OG was 1 match away from the Aegis, 1 match away from the victory that had escaped them for so long, 1 match away from proving that they didn't need Fly or S4, they just needed to believe in the thing that had gotten OG so far in the first place. The belief that working together as a team and trusting each other would get them the rest of the way. LGD dispatched EG 2-0 in the lower bracket finals to earn another shot at OG. OG took the first game.
And GG is called, ladies and gentlemen. OG taking game one of this best of 5 in the 2018 International Grand Finals.
But LGD rallied, taking 2 one-sided games back-to-back.
They beat down on the ancient PSG. LGD looking to close this one up, and they will. Game 3 goes to PSG LGD.
OG had their backs to the wall.
He's in for the side, he's got a double damage rune as well. FYs, they're in underneath the tower, punching down Thompson. Thompson falls once again. Jarex comes in with the tether across, they try to find something to respond, but Jarex, he's in trouble, he will live. They get the kill, FY, he'll go down as well. So OG able to strike back in that mid lane with the rotation, getting the double kill for Nova, but Nova walks in against the easiest kill of his life.
With so much on the line, with so little room for error, no one expected former coach Seb to save OG. But he did.
Anna, can he do it here? He's at half health. Seb gets the call! He gets the call of his lifetime! As 3 dead now on LGD, no buyback.
And it kept them alive for one last game. OG went in with a lineup of some of the least picked heroes at the tournament, and LGD took advantage of that as soon as the game started.
FY goes for the setup, the Fisher into the combo, Torrent will be dodged. No-Tail's actually going to TP in for this one as Somnus beats down onto Jarex. Jarex able to get himself away, no he's not!
Once again, LGD took an early lead, but OG had been here before. The whole tournament was one big comeback, so what better way to close it out than with one more?
FY's there with the slam, ready to hold off to the fight, but Chalice is so low. Chalice is going to go down. PSG LGD, they've lost 3. FY with the TPL, won't make it. The sleight of fist, the change. Anna catches out the shaker. Can he TP back in time before the curse kills him? Yes, he can! Chad's still alive throughout this all. They've lost Thompson, the slight, the change, the remnant across. They'll get the kill onto Chalice, but now Anna, he's in the middle of it all. Uses himself on the flame guard, ticking FY down like the sleight of fist. The RP, Sim, he's got the control on Army. As OG, they fight 3. They look towards Somnus, surrounding him in the pit. Somnus, he'll go down as well. The buyback from Anna, securing the fight here for OG. As only X-Nova left alive, but not for long. They chase him down, they get the T1. The Ancient is exposed. As OG, the Nimbus down, the shockwave from Seb gets themselves another, they're onto the Ancient. OG. OG.
They've done it. They have done it.
Have done it. The power of flowers and friendship. Have done it here, ladies and gentlemen. Your grand champions of TIA. It's OG. Can you believe it?
OG emerged victorious after a close 3-2 series, after a tournament filled with comebacks and close calls, after getting revenge on evil geniuses.
That was a team that was shaken up months before this event.
They just reformed this team.
Thompson, he's only been playing for a couple of days.
His earnings were $3,000 before this.
Oh my goodness. OG.
Congratulations
OG.
to OG. They deserved it. They played out of their minds the entire tournament. They didn't follow anyone else's strategy. Maybe that was a stepping stone. They just played their own game, and it was miraculous.
But perhaps most importantly, they emerged victorious after proving themselves.
Cinderella's story ain't got nothing on this! OG! Your TIA champions!
At the International 2018, No-Tail, Jarex, Seb, Anna, and Thompson proved that the fundamental belief that created OG was true. Sometimes sticking together, working hard, and believing in the team you've built means more than just the best all-star roster that money can buy. Even when your friends lose their way and become your enemy. Even when the world is against you.
I would not have picked them as a favorite for a single series they played at TI.
You persevere because the trust you've created can win anything.
That's what it's for. That right there.
You're a TI champion, NoTail.
I guess. It's real. It's fucking real.
Breathe it in, take your time.
I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed.
Thanks for watching. If you want more great content just like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button.
There are certain caster calls in esports that have passed into legend.
Like, even though I only have a mat on the floor, I think he's in the bed. Oh, Faker maybe in trouble here. Deathmark tries to clean it up for Ryu. Oh, look at the cleanse, look at the moves. Faker, what was that?
Here he comes once again. The first base is a Dren. He's going to hit the ground there as Cold. Oh, what? A jumping double from Cold. What is going on right now? How does he do this?
They're all together. PPD, here comes the Ice Blast, ready for the dart! In from Universe! It's a disaster! CDEC! They're gonna get wiped from the face of the earth apart from aggressive!
And while all of those are hype as hell and inseparably tied to the events they described, there's only one that actually changed the course of history.
Normally. Surely you can't be serious.
Now, if you're not a Dota player and you don't know shit about the Philippines, you might think Lakad Matatag sounds like a certain phrase from The Lion King.
Hakuna Matata!
And in some ways, the two are very similar. But before we get into that, here's a little bit of context. Lakad Matatag derives from Tagalog, one of the official languages of the Philippines. And if there are 3 things you should know about the Philippines, it's that the people there love Manny Pacquiao, they take life very seriously, and above all else, they're crazy about Dota 2. Not only have Filipino teams been involved in some of the game's most iconic moments,
Your time-making winners, you are gone! The Filipinos have eliminated OG!
but their fans are among esports' most passionate.
The greatest upset of all time! Upset of them all!
Anyway, the story of Lakad Matatag begins back at ESL 1 Katowice in 2018, during a group stage best of 3 between Fnatic and Team Secret. The series is tied 1-1, but in Game 3, things weren't looking great for Fnatic.
Jeez, Envy blinking inside the base. He gets feared out. Can Puppy hold him in here? He's got swap available and he'll swap him out. And the Tornado, no return ticket, punched by Eternal Envy. Instead, he'll be punched down by every single member of Team Secret.
Despite facing what appeared to be certain defeat, Fnatic refused to give up and blindsided their opponents with a Hail Mary backdoor play.
But this is the problem, yeah, the throne is going down, but Echo Slam! Yapsaw jumps in! Goodbye Pylai Die, and goodbye Eternal Envy! 2 minutes on the sideline, Universe, he's going in, he's going for the GG! He's on the back of the range creep, Up is here as well! Fnatic are actually doing this! They're going for the full GG! Mid one's come for the defense, Mortification's not there! Fnatic have done it! They've gone in through the rear! And they have actually taken Secret in the full series 2-1!
Most people watching heard Fogged and Tobywan casting the play in English, but the Filipino audience, they heard something entirely different.
Normally. Ekos Lama Chama! Tapos ang boxing! Iisama! Uy! Teka lang, iba to! Sir Chief! Sir Chief! Huwag kayong mainis! Mahalang patis! Panatic! Oh my God, Sir Chief! Panatic victory! Then kita na ako times 3! 30K! Easiest money of my life!
If you think that what you just heard sounds like the product of exhaustion-born delirium, you're actually right. For the two Pinoy casters, Lon and Duno, it had been a long day.
At that time, Philippine time is around 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. So we're really a bit sleepy, but that should have been the last match, I guess, for us to cast.
Now what the hell does any of that cast mean? Well, let's break it down. Lakad Matatog translates to walk strongly or walk like a boss. Normaline refers to normal basic attacks from the heroes, and all the ois were just an excited response to how low Secret's throne was. Mixed in with the more obscure references in their cast were classic lines like
The next level play. The next level play.
And
Ecos Lama Chama!
which kind of sounds like Valve's take on Kool-Aid lunchbox beverages.
Oh yeah!
Capping off the 45 seconds of non-stop memes was
Easiest money of my life!
which doesn't really make any sense, but is probably just one of those things that feels good to shout.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Anyway, the clip quickly made waves across the Dota community, and it brought Lon and Duno into the spotlight.
In the Philippines, we're pretty much very known, but in the international